Happy October. Hi. My name is Heather. If you don't know me, I'm the music director here at the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. And this month we have a new topic, new wonderful weather, new things going on. And we have a new song for our celebration song this month. It is One Big Family by Gary Lynn Floyd. It's inside the blue sheet inside your program. If you would like to stand and sing it, you can. If you want to sit and enjoy, you can as well. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are one, we are love, one big family. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are one, we are love, one big family. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. And get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If you notice in your program where it says welcome and announcements, it's blank. That's me. I'm blank. On behalf of Reverend Donna Maurer and the Board of Trustees, I'm privileged to welcome you to the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are truly welcome here. Here you will be validated, supported, and encouraged to be all that you're meant to be. Our vision statement is love in action every day in every way. We express this love by learning and living the principles of the science of mind. You'll find our Declaration of Principles at the back of your program. Please join me now in reading them. I believe there's an infinite intelligence operating throughout the universe. I believe this intelligent power is only good. I believe this intelligence expresses as me. I believe through my conscious use of this power, I create my life as happy, healthy, and complete. And so it is. Well, we're fortunate. We have two visitors from Denver, I understand. Val and her sister Carol. Thank you for joining us. As you saw earlier, we have cookies and coffee, and please stay and enjoy it. We're also having a reception for the artist that you can see the beautiful pictures around. So it would be a good chance for us to get to know you, and we can all greet you. Oh, I'd like to thank everyone who insisted in making this morning possible, and so many people are very good about naming names. I just say thank you all, those that we know about and those that we don't, who have helped make this day complete. Please direct your attention to the announcements in your bulletin. And if you're watching us online, please visit cslaz.org for our announcements and events calendar.
Good morning. My name is Judy Robertson, and it's my pleasure to be a practitioner this morning. The practitioners are the healing arm of the center. If you have anything that is causing you any kind of a disturbance, you're welcome to fill out a prayer card. They're right over there on the table. Put it in the box, and know that the practitioners are going to be praying for you this week. Also, if you have any demonstrations, there is a box over there, and would like to hear from you about those also. Get comfortable. Close your eyes if you wish while I do the invocation. I have no sense of insecurity or any anxiety. I feel very secure in God. I know that I will be guided, I will be guarded, and loved into fulfillment. I have no ancient thought about tomorrow, for I will know exactly what to do when tomorrow comes. Having no morbid regrets over the past, and I have no anxiety over the future. I just live today as though God was all there is. That's because God is all there is. There is no other power, no other presence, and there is no life. Namaste. My talk today is about our founder, Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes founded the International Religious Science Movement, and he wrote The Science of Mind and numerous other metaphysical books. and originated the international periodical, The Science of Mind magazine. It has been in continuous publication since 1927. Science of Mind is recognized today as a leading viewpoint in modern metaphysics. It is a spiritual philosophy that has brought people around the world to a working cosmology, a sense of their relationship with God and with their place in the universe. It is positive, supportive, and the approach to our daily living. Ernest Holmes was born in 1887 on a small farm in Maine to a very poor family. He was the youngest of 9 boys. And as a teenager, he went to Bethel Preparatory School. But he spent most of his time outside. He was asking the question, what is God? Who am I? Why am I here? He mentally tangled with all the local preachers. He didn't believe anything that he heard at church. So when he was 18, he left school and formal education, and he went on his lifelong course for his independent thinking. He decided, I'm going to Boston. There he worked in a grocery store for 3 years, and he still studied. About a year later, in Boston, he found out about Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he said, reading Emerson is just like drinking water to me. His metaphysical studies intensified his quest. He studied art, science, philosophy, religion, and in particular, the Christian Science teachings of Mary Baker Eddy. In 1914, when he was 25, he decided, I'm going to move to Venice, California. There he was pursuing his studies, and he discovered the writings of Thomas Trord. This fired his flame. He started to have small groups where he spoke to people. These groups started to increase. He started to travel all over speaking. People just loved him. His lifetime ministry has already started. So later, as his audience was growing, he was acclaimed a minister of the Divine Science Church. Ernest published his first book way back in 1919 called Creative Mind. Shortly after, he followed by writing Creative Mind and Success. The Science of Mind, which was to become the textbook of religious science philosophy. First published in 1922, it was originally copyrighted by his wife in 1926 and revised in 1938. They wanted him to incorporate this organization. At first he refused, but finally he gave in, and in 1927, the Institute of Religious Science and the School of Philosophy was incorporated. Ernest was married October 23, 1927 in Los Angeles to a widow named Hazel Foster. They were inseparable for 30 years. In 1953, the Institute became the Church of Religion Science, and in 1968, it got its permanent name, the United Church of Religious Science. Now there are member churches throughout the whole world. On May 21, 1957, he lost his lifelong companion. Hazel passed away. And Ernest Holmes made his transition on April 7, 1960 in Los Angeles from a stroke. But they had no children, but he left the humankind an enduring legacy, the way of life that he called religious science. In 1958, this is what he said: we have to have the same faith in what we teach and practice that the scientist has, or the gardener. And when their great simplicity shall have plummeted and penetrated this density of ours, the human's stolidity and stupidity, this debauchery of the intelligence and the soul, something new and wonderful is going to happen. It is the only thing that will keep our world from destroying itself. Namaste. Thank you. Now I'm going to take this candle as I hold the high watch. Thank you very much.
So in October, and Judy, thank you so much for setting it up so well. We're talking about our beloved community and becoming a beneficial presence. And so that's more along the lines of this song that I chose today for special music, Being a Beneficial Presence. It's a song that was recorded by Janice Stanfield, whom I personally love dearly. She is such a fantastic lady. I miss her a lot. And yeah, we haven't been able to actually physically see each other since the pandemic started. So yeah, it'll probably be another year or so. But she's a beneficial presence in my life. And this song is an inspiration to people worldwide. It's called A Small Star. To feel brave, to be brave. You don't have to feel strong, to be strong. We don't have to feel inspiring, to inspire. Remember when your road is rough and long, even a small star shines in the darkness for someone somewhere to see. It lights the way for those in the distance. That's what your courage means to me. Times you feel lonely, like no one sees the world the way you do. Remember, each of us is made uniquely, and no one ever sees their own magnitude. Even a small star shines in the darkness for someone somewhere to see. It lights the way for those in the distance. That's what your courage means to me. To be a little brilliant. Don't be afraid to shine in someone else's eyes. If we can trust the gifts that sometimes make us different, then we all can learn to shine, shine, shine. Even a small star shines in the darkness for someone somewhere to see. It lights the way for those in the distance. That's what your courage means to me. That's what your courage means to me.
Thank you, Heather. It's a pretty song, pretty song. Good morning. Last week, when Don Green was our trustee, he mentioned that he was so happy to be back with his friends and his spiritual family. And you know, I kind of been thinking about that all week and just how blessed I am to have this family and how blessed we are to have each other. So I thought I'd continue with that theme for a little bit, and as Heather mentioned, our new theme for October is our beloved community. The beloved community is a term that was first coined in the early days of the 20th century by philosopher, theologian Josiah Royce, but of course it was made popular by Dr. Martin Luther King in the 50s and late 50s, early 60s. He said, our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require a qualitative change in our souls, as well as a quantitative change in our lives. And he stressed that the beloved community will be based on love, what he termed agape love. In a speech in 1957, King said of his nonviolence stance, but the end is reconciliation, the end is redemption, the end is the creation of the beloved community. It is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform opposers into friends. And the type of love that I stress here is not eros, a sort of aesthetic or romantic love, not philia, a sort of reciprocal love between personal friends, but it is agape, which is understanding goodwill for all men. It is an overflowing love which seeks nothing in return. It is the love of God working in the lives of men. This is the love that may well be the salvation of our civilization. And of course we know, with all the divisiveness around us today, with some family members not speaking to others even, Dr. King's words are as powerful today as they were 60 years ago. And when I hear the term, excuse me, I'm sorry, I know it's noisy. Is the mic and I don't see you. Okay. So when I hear the term beloved community, I think of us. And whether we know it or not, we have put our hearts and our souls into creating and maintaining this center, our own beloved community. And we've done that through the practical use of our philosophy. Because of our teaching, we, in our own lives, have seen qualitative changes in our soul, in the way we think, in the way we believe, and quantitative changes in our lives, the way we walk in this world. And our beloved community is the amalgam of that. The more we let unconditional love guide our choices, the more love will fill our life, and the more beloved will be our community. So there's no end to this, and that brings us to our topic this morning, becoming a beneficial presence. And I didn't really like the word becoming, because I think we already are. But maybe we don't know what we're doing, or maybe we don't know what it really is, because I had some new awarenesses this week about it. For those of you who've been around for a while, you remember the Reverends Bob and Peggy Bailey? Yeah. And Bob often used this term beneficial presence. And he said, Whether on the golf course, in the grocery store, or wherever I go, I want to be a presence that benefits others. And he was. He was. And Peggy still is. So I do like the term beneficial presence very much. And Dr. Thomas Hora, H-O-R-A, seems to be the person who first coined this term. Dr. Hora was born in Czechoslovakia, and he was trained as a psychiatrist there, and he came to the U.S. in 1945. He practiced conventional psychiatry until the early 1960s. But he observed that the traditional methods of healing were only temporarily helpful, and he was led to look beyond his professional training for answers to human problems in the wisdom teachings of the East and the West. And he came to the realization that all problems are psychological and all solutions are spiritual. Isn't that neat? So both agape love and beneficial presence are terms that take us out of the realm of personality and into the realm of consciousness. They take us out of the world of duality and into the world of oneness. And that's probably one of the hardest and most radical shifts that we have to make on our spiritual journey. Yeah, I think most of us would consider ourselves good people. I think I'm a good person. I think everybody here is a good person. But a good person is very different than a beneficial presence. As a good person, I can see pain and suffering in the world, and I want to fix it. But often my efforts to help only enhance the problem. And I then am hurt by my inability to help. A beneficial presence, on the other hand, is a focal point of harmony, because his or her very being manifests spiritual qualities and agape love. Rather than a personality, the word presence points toward a quality of consciousness. So as you and I get used to the idea of thinking of ourselves as a presence, then we transcend the image of ourselves as separate entities and begin to see that we are the vehicles through which divine love moves out into the world. And we begin to glimpse that no matter the outward personality, so is everybody else. So is everybody else. Because if God is all there is, then anything we consider to be unlike God is illusory. It's an error in thinking. And those errors cannot be solved by trying to fix them. They can dissolve, however, when we shine divine love on them by standing as a beneficial presence and by knowing the truth that God is all there is, regardless of appearances. It may be difficult to conceive of an individual who can be a great blessing to a situation just by the quality of his or her consciousness. But isn't that the very crux of Jesus' teaching and of Buddha? And what is true, when we as individuals come with a loving consciousness to any situation, things have a tendency to work together for good in an almost mysterious way. And you can ask our board that, because we are a consensus board. And so if we can't come to consensus, what we do is table something or say, well, there's another way, and we put it aside. And almost every time, there'll be a third way that appears that's exactly right, because it's been spirit-driven and spirit-led. So as a religious scientist, we can understand this. We believe that what we see in the world is a product of our thought, and if there is to be change in the expression or experience, there first must be change in the thought. I mean, this is kindergarten science of mind, right? And the only thought that we can change is our own. So as you and I change our thought and move into that place of pure love, we have created a transcendent atmosphere around the experience. So rather than actively fixing a situation, we have revealed its higher truth and placed into motion a causal thought that provides a new mold for a new experience. Thomas Hora describes a beneficial presence as compassionate, solitary, and beholding. And I want to go through these for a minute because I scratched my head a bit. Dr. Maurer defines compassion as understanding the lack of understanding. I love that statement, understanding the lack of understanding. Because the minute I think I've got it, then I've missed it. So I have to stay in that place of understanding as the lack of understanding. And he says the compassionate individual does not get provoked or impatient, does not recriminate, judge, condemn, or react personally to others' various misconceptions about lives or issues. He does not demand that another individual get well, but respects an individual's right to be sick or to make no progress at all. Compassion is not about having pity on another person, because having pity implies that we know what's best for them. Compassion is not about taking the pain away, because sometimes it is the pain that leads us to the light of our own transformation. And taking it away could block that moment of illumination. So rather, we provide the light and love that can allow for that person's fullest expression, and even if at that moment it is for them to remain in their suffering. And a very tangible example of this is the Alcoholics Anonymous program. The people of AA do not condemn the alcoholic, nor do they try to control their drinking, but they simply stand as a beneficial presence, having been where the alcoholic has been, and is ready to lend their hearts and hands when that person says, "I need help." And it's this consciousness of love that stands at the heart of AA programs, and that's what's made it so very successful. He says a beneficial presence is solitary. And again, Dr. Maurer's definition is very unlike Webster's, which is secluded or isolated or alone. He says a solitary individual as a beneficial presence is aware that he or she is here for God. And in knowing that truth, becomes a focal point of harmony, peace, and healing in the midst of turmoil. Now, I was struggling with this idea of solitary as a prerequisite to becoming a beneficial presence, when yesterday I watched a video interview with Brene Brown, and even though she was talking about the importance of belonging, she nailed it for me. Because she was grappling with a statement from Maya Angelou. You're only truly free until you belong everywhere, nowhere, which is everywhere. The price is high and the reward is great. And Brene said, here's the one thing I can tell you for sure that I've known from my research. In the absence of love and belonging, there is always suffering. And I feel like I've really experienced some suffering around belonging in my life. And I thought, what does that mean? You're only free until you belong nowhere and everywhere. So I just started digging into it, and I kept asking people who have this really strong sense of true belonging, what do they have in common, and is there any validity to this idea of belonging everywhere and nowhere? The thing that I learned about belonging that I think is so powerful and that I cling to as a creative is that belonging is not something we negotiate in the external world. It's something we carry in our hearts. That's what Maya Angelou meant, I think, when she said you belong everywhere, nowhere, which is everywhere. Our self-worth and our belonging is not something we negotiate externally. It's something we carry in our wild hearts. So when you and I stand as an individual manifestation of God's presence in the world, then we can be alone or we can be with people. We can belong everywhere and nowhere. We're not caught up in the anxiety of whether we are liked or accepted, because we know that we are the beloved of the living God. We can allow people not to approve of us without our needing to make them change their minds. Yeah, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, and I'm so grateful to Judy this morning for talking about him a bit. He calls this spiritual self-reliance. He says, developing confidence in ourselves, in our ability to meet and handle all undesirable situations, requires that we must have confidence in that something which is greater than we are. Then we will have spiritual reliance. When this is done, the lesser must always submit to the greater. Weakness will give way to strength. Despair will turn to hope. Hate will become love. Failure will become success. Sickness will dissolve into health. The action that takes place is one that moves in harmony, love, beauty, warmth, and order, quietly transforming all that is unlike it. So to me, Brené Brown's idea that our belonging is something that we carry in our hearts, not something that is externally negotiated, and Ernest Holmes' idea of spiritual self-reliance are both ways to understand what Dr. Hora called solitary. And as a solitary beneficial presence, we are not people pleasers, but rather we are lovers of all people, whether or not they return that love. A beneficial presence is a beholder. And according to Dr. Hora, a beholder is a person who can spiritually discern the world and his or her place in it. In our spiritual discernment, we see, appreciate, and distinguish spiritual values, qualities, and ideas in the world. And Dr. Hora says, we cannot see love and beauty and harmony and truth with our eyes. We cannot smell them. We cannot taste them. Yet we are capable of beholding the infinite presence of God everywhere in the universe. And when that faculty has been awakened within us, we become beholders. We are spontaneously seeing evidence of God's presence all around and within us. So as beholders, you and I express the joy of being, realizing that the gifts of Spirit have already been given, and there is nothing to want or to need. And we can stand in the majesty of creation and see that the kingdom of heaven is truly spread upon the land. We can transcend life at its personal level and then glimpse the source that is all good, knowing that what we are beholding is the absolute and unconditional love of Spirit. So as a beneficial presence, what we behold becomes manifest in the world of affairs. So by our presence, we invite others into the joy of simply being. We are blessing in the world because we are living from the attributes of beauty, love, truth, joy, harmony, peace, abundance that are intrinsically who we are as expressions of God. As a beneficial presence, we do not get involved in how we want the world to be or not be. We do not get sick over the world condition, nor do we run away from it. Instead, we establish the truth of God's perfect spiritual universe in our own consciousness. And each time that we're able to do this, each time we can see what really is God's perfect creation, then we're contributing to the healing of the world through our own transformation. We are contributing to the beloved community, whether that beloved community is our center, our family, our neighborhood, or the salvation of our civilization, because we're seeing through the eyes of agape love that everything is divine, everything is sacred. So as you and I practice the compassion of a loving heart, as we know ourselves to be here for God, and as we behold the magnificence of God in all things and all people, then we each truly are a beneficial presence. We are a gentle shapeshifter of the world of affairs, a vision holder for the future, and a powerful force for good right here and right now. Thank you. Namaste.
Here comes another Jana Stanfield song. I love this one. And if you'd like to stand and sing, if you know it, that's great. And if not, then you can sit and enjoy as well. Because if I get to sit and enjoy, why can't you?
No, I said that. Because there's
I love myself so much that you can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you could start loving me.
there's hand movements.
I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Clap along, come on now. I love myself so much that you can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. One more time. I love myself so much. Oh yeah. That I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Let's do it again, why not? I love myself so much, that you can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love that one, and I love you.
Yeah, fun. You know what I do? Oh, there it is. Okay. It is time for our offering. And I guess our camera didn't work. Drat.
Tis what tis. Tis what tis.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know. We're gonna get this. I mean, at this point, I'm determined. So we'll see what it takes. But anyhow, we do have a new modem that's strictly for this room, and that should have helped. But I think we have to actually wire it to the computer, and then it'll help better. Anyway, regardless of that, it's time for our affirmation. It's time for our offering. And this is just the time where we share in that beloved community with our tithes and our gifts. And again, like I said last week, I'm just so grateful that we have been able to carry through during this pandemic, and really with the help of so many people, we've been able to make it, and we've been able to keep our ties to the community as well. So, wow. So won't you join me in our offering affirmation at the bottom left-hand part of your bulletin. My gift goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless all that it touches. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I share generously of my good, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
Spirit on earth, and all you are
Thank you so very, very much. I just want to remind you all that Dick Page is here, and he's going to be presenting not only his art, but his inspiration for it, and he has a lovely story. And so please plan on staying and hearing from Dick, and also taking a moment to look at the beautiful photography that he does. This is one of our outreach programs, by the way. It was originally founded by Ann Cummins. And it's a way that we can have beautiful art on the wall, but it's also a way that we can serve our community by having it displayed here. So it's win-win. It's win-win. And just about the time you think, oh, I wish we'd have something else, then we have a new artist. So it works out just perfect. It's win-win for everybody. So let's just take a moment to close this portion out in prayer, and then again, please grab a cup of coffee and some refreshments, and be back with us for Dick. I know that there is one divine intelligence, and that this divine intelligence animates all that we see. This divine intelligence has as its attributes love, peace, joy, harmony, abundance. And we, being expressions of that one, have those beautiful attributes within us. So as we carry forth this week as beneficial presence in the world, let's allow those qualities to move out with every step we take, with every conversation that we have. And know that something good is happening. And I do speak my word for anyone who's experiencing any kind of difficulty, challenge, to know that the power and love of God is at the center of that situation, bringing infinite, unconditional love to it. I give thanks for the opportunity to be here today, to speak my word, and to know simply that everything is good and very good as we choose to see it that way. And I simply allow these words to move through that law of mind into expression in the world as we say together, and so it is. Thank you all. And let's make our circle and do our